Hello and welcome to Differential Discussions. I'm Melissa,
And I'm Dave.
and today we're back looking at body fluids, and we have a CSF again.
Yeah. One of the we treat these specimens like gold, they say, right? We're supposed to be very, very careful. Many specimens can be recollected. CSF's not so much.
Not
um,
without great pain and annoyance and
yeah, yeah, and a certain degree of danger and risk,
yeah,
right? So every procedure has risk, phlebotomy, right? But this one more so. We're dealing with the central nervous system. um, so yeah, really cool. So we're starting on our low power, and we want to build good habits with our viewers and with our practice. So we're going to do this low power scan. We're looking for lots of different things, odd clumps of cells, abnormally large cells, and really anything that just catches our attention. So it looks like we have a little bit of red cell presence here, a little bit of blood.
so with the blood, having the blood there, we're probably going to expect to have some kind of phagocytic presence to start cleaning up the blood.
Yep, absolutely. So blood presence can be either trauma from the tap itself,
Hmm.
or there could be inherent bleeding in the cavity, and we've collected that. Um,
Yeah.
so if we were analyzing like tubes and things, typically the if it's a traumatic tap, the blood, the amount of red cells should decrease as we get further in the series,
Yeah,
between tube 1 and 4, let's say.
for our
Okay.
cell counts.
Yes.
Yeah. It wouldn't really make a difference for our differential, really. Looking at the
Right.
slides, we wouldn't really see it very much, but definitely something to be cognizant of.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we're on 40 now,
Yep.
looking around.
All right. You want me to drop down or you want me to move around a little bit?
It's up to you. I kind of feel like we could probably start looking a little bit closer. Some of these are looking like they're monomax.
Yeah. Things look very beat up though.
Agreed.
Mhm. Some really beat up looking. I think these guys look like beat up neutrophils over here.
Yeah.
This one probably was a neutrophil. It's kind of hard to tell.
So like I'm struggling because I kind of like intuitively feel like monomax and stuff, but like the color and um yeah, odd.
Yeah, and then this one I think is a lymph.
Yeah, probably a lymph. It's very, very difficult, if not impossible, to see the cytoplasm.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a smudge because it would be more explodey.
Yeah. All right, let's move around, find something.
All right.
Speaking of junky smudges.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely appears to be. So now I'm feeling stronger and stronger about what you said now. So a couple neutrophils kind of
Hmm.
smushed in there.
Looks like a couple of lymphs also smushed.
Couple lymphs. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So the things that we can't tell, like this guy here, smudges, right? Just ignoring them, but I think we can count a neutrophil, a neutrophil, a neutrophil, and then a lymph.
Yeah. I think on average, you're going to skip a lot more cells in a body fluid than you are in peripheral blood. I generally discourage skipping, but you don't want to make a call that's not accurate either.
We're skipping because we can't tell what it is, not because we
Right.
don't know what it is and we're
Not
struggling.
because we don't want to deal with it. Yeah. Yeah. So some more smudges,
Yeah.
but definitely looks like a neutrophil there. Um, and then what do you think about this? I'm kind of more like maybe a monomac or something.
Maybe. I could go with that because the chromatin looks different than the neutrophil.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Cytoplasm looks really weird though.
It does look weird. It looks too gritty
Yeah.
for a mono, but it's also much fairer than the neutrophil right next to it. So
Mm, okay.
this stuff isn't an exact science. A little bit of seat of the pants. Oh, like probably a lymphy nucleus.
Yep.
Can't really see much of his cytoplasm.
No, not really.
This is kind of a tricky one. Okay, so I like neutrophil,
Mm-hmm.
neutrophil,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm kind of struggling to see if there's cytoplasm here.
Yeah.
That one be like a monomac for you? What do you think?
So I see the cytoplasm.
So it might actually be lymphy.
Yeah, I think this one's too lymphy.
Okay.
That's the
So
cytoplasm that I can see.
we may not always see everything perfectly between the two of us. So with Melissa giving me that cytoplasm, now NC ratio becomes a heavy weight in my head, and it changed the way I thought about the cell.
Yep.
Yeah, so I agree there.
And I think this is too junky to call.
Yep. Just skip, yep. And then of course on top is just
A giant smooge. Smooge.
yeah, the cell count doesn't appear to be too terribly high. Does look like some more neutrophils.
Mm-hmm. And just again, we don't call hypolobulated or hyper, like this is, if you look at it, you think, oh, there's only two lobes, it's hypolobulated. We don't
Hmm.
call that on body fluids.
Yeah. It might get me thinking though of like a left shiftish kind of circumstance, or Pelger like, or pseudo Pelger. Yeah, so see, because these are very bandish for me, and I don't call bands. um I
And
feel like
or even like a meta.
yeah. So I what I should have said is just left shift, right? Just to be plain about it. So there appears to be somewhat of a left shift here. So what happened? Where do we get left shifts, right? Inflammatory conditions and bacterial infections. Bacterial infections tend to be inflammatory issues. So yeah, we have this is a good field here. So it looks like a bunch of neutrophils, I think, and
Yep.
maybe a lymph or two. I don't know what do you think about lymph on I should be using different colors or something. I'm gonna be confusing.
Well, I think this is a right here is still a neutrophil.
Agreed. Yep. I'm wondering if this one down here might be neutrophil, but
I think it's a neutrophil
yeah.
with the granules around here. This one I think
So
is too junky to call.
yep.
This one might be also. I can't tell what this one was.
Yeah. So comfortably, we'd probably say 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 neutrophils in this bunch here.
Yeah.
Very, very tricky call here. And it's tough for me to even kind of yeah.
Very beat up.
They're very beat up,
This is a nice one at least.
which is very suspicious too.
Yeah. Left shift, beat up neutrophils.
Painting a picture here. Yep. The cell count is also not terribly high either, right? So it's a little.
Oh, it's not bad.
Yeah, so lots and lots of these are good neutrophils here.
Yeah.
Very little doubt about those morphologies. Um, this on the left, on the right here, I just drew a line to. It looks like there's 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not keeping track, but
1, 2, 3.
we're starting to get high on the neutrophils. So that would be unusual. Typically in normal CSFs, we see a lot of lymphs and monos.
Oh, baby.
Oh, goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So again, this is a clump where we wouldn't go in to identify the cells, but there's a qualitative finding here.
This field is more important than the entire differential. Is that fair to say?
I
Is
think
that
so.
might be an extreme? So there are tons of bacterial organisms here. Tons.
Yep.
Yeah. So that is the critical finding on this slide. Of course, microbiology should be the one to review the gram stain and do all that. But holy cow. How beautiful.
Yeah, so I'm just moving around this clump now.
So
Gosh.
we kind of, Melissa pointed out that some of the cells looked rough. They looked a little haggard. Very, very common in bacterial infections for neutrophils to look like they've been through war.
Yeah.
As opposed to like an unrelated inflammatory condition where you might have a ton of neutrophils and maybe even a left shift, but they look good. They look like they're supposed to, according to the textbook. But
Yeah, and they may even look more like reactive. You can see the reactive features in them, but they look whole. They don't look beat up.
mm-hmm. So try not to do differentials in big clumps, but always look at big clumps. Always be suspicious about what they are and their origin. You can find these qualitative stuff, these things in there. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so let me exit and then let's see. Yeah, I mean,
It's almost like you're looking at a different slide, right? Like
yeah.
if we would have stayed away from those clumps, we may have never actually seen an organism.
Oh my gosh, look at this guy. There's a basophil here.
Oh, cool. That's really neat. So we see that there's a qualitative difference in the color of the cytoplasms, and then we have those kind of prominent dark granules. And it makes it difficult to tell where the nucleus kind of starts and ends. That's a good clue that you might be looking at a basophil.
But yeah, I mean, out here, there's really no organisms.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's some here.
Oh, wow. Mm. Hey, and I may kind of like, right? Is this just junk or whatever? The thing when we looked in that clump, there were organisms inside of
Yes.
bacteria, and yeah, so it's okay
Yeah.
to be skeptical, but oh, how awesome.
I think that's the thing too, is like when you see them out here in the world, like that one, we're not
Mm-hmm.
seeing any intracellularly
Yep.
out here.
Yeah, there's always this like weird risk that maybe someone just sneezed on the slide or something, right? Before you cytospun. But intracellular bacteria, you can have very high confidence that this is representative of inside the body.
Yeah, there's really nothing out here. Oh, there's some here.
Oh yeah. Wow. And we can see that big vacuole in that neutrophil and more intracellular organisms.
Yeah. So I think this slide is good for, just to summarize, making sure that you're looking in the giant clumps, even if you're not counting in the clumps, because you can find the qualitative findings, and making sure that we're scanning and really taking the time to look around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, finding bacteria like this as soon as possible is just critical. This is a very dangerous predicament for anyone to be in. So
Yeah. Cool. Well,
scan those clumps.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's all we have for this video. So thanks for watching.
Thank you for your time.